But a game like that, particularly when the first goal's in the first minute, it was completely what Manchester United wanted. Get the goal, they're pretty good defensively, and they're very good on the counter-attack. So it could not have been better suited to them, could it?
It couldn't. I think that the game plan would have been the same regardless of scoring that first goal, but it just gives them something to defend, it gives them something to hang on to. It seemed to force Manchester City to try and play a little bit quicker and force a few passes that they maybe would have shown a bit more patience from. We've seen in the last 21 games or so. But United were terrific. You've seen Ollie's record at the Etihad. He knows how to set up against this Manchester City side. And with the pace of Rashford and, you know, I thought Luke Shaw had a tremendous game as well on the break. Martial, better than I've seen him in a long time. You know, they had all the attributes to go and get the result. If
you're a United fan watching this around the world, you're probably a little bit frustrated that a great performance like that couldn't be replicated at Crystal Palace last week or 4 or 5 other games that we could pick on, which would mean they could have been just that little bit closer to City at the top.
Yeah, it feels as though this all of a sudden over the last couple of years is Man U's fixture to win, isn't it, against City. They've over them. They started the game really well. From the kick-off, they went old school. They smashed it into the corner and penned them in. Started the game really well. They've got the best players on the ball. And once you get that early goal mark, it's something that you can't really measure, but confidence in a player and in a team when you go away from home, because everyone was looking at this game thinking this can't be 0-0. This can't be another Man United 0-0. They have to go there. They have to score goals, put on a performance. Interesting, Ollie said there, which I've not heard a manager say for a while, and he was right saying he felt as though his team played the result when they were winning 1-0. So they played the result as in they were scared to then go and get the next goal, and they were thinking, right, we're comfortable in the game, we're winning 1-0, we don't really need to do much more. Second half, they were much better again and took the game to City. So overall, fantastic away performance from Man United.
Anthony Taylor refereed this game last season. There was a penalty to Manchester United in the first half, which he didn't give, but VAR did. But he was in a great position here, wasn't he? You talked to us about the inside left channel, Chris, don't you, of running for the referee?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for young referees around the world, I think the advice here is when you blow the whistle for the start of the match, get on the move, get going, because 30 seconds later, he's making a massive decision in a really important figure. And you can see where he works himself in that outside left channel. He's got an unobstructed view, positive, makes a decision. He's absolutely correct. And that set the tone for his performance in the afternoon. I thought he was terrific.
I like the way he's crouching down as well to get a really good view of what's going down at feet level.
That's it. Well, that's where the trouble's going to come from, isn't it? Because if you can see the ball as well, he knows exactly where he is. And you can see there the contact is clearly on the heel.
Ridiculous from Jesus that early on in the game.
Is that just panic? Because you were saying before we came on air, you want a good touch early on, especially in a derby. He doesn't get a good touch. He goes, I've got to make up for it.
Yeah, and he gives the ball away. And I don't know if you see it after he runs back because he's enthusiastic to win the ball. The moment he gets tight, he's on the shoulder, he makes contact with the foot. He doesn't even turn to see what the decision is. He knows, he looks away, he's running away, he's looking up to the sky, he knows what he's done. And then you saw when the goal went in how frustrated he was. He's obviously not planned to do that, but sometimes you get so ready for the game, so intense in your desire to do well. You give your first touch away, you've got to go put it right, but he's run deeper than his midfielders to try and make a tackle when his defenders were in a comfortable position. I think
a lot of them.
So he wasn't going anywhere, Martial, was he?
No, you just, if you're Jesus, and he knows it, it's one of them, Mark. We've all done them where you're desperate to make a tackle and make an early impact in the game. And when you see it again, you see how many City shirts were around Martial. You see it there. You know, if you said to Pep, you're going to concede from there, you'd think impossible unless there's a mistake. And the mistake is Jesus battling, trying to nick the ball off. Once you're in the 18-yard box, you've got to put your hands, you're all putting their hands up in the air to say we're not going to touch them because they're pretty confident Martial's not scoring. And it was an error.
No hop from Bruno Fernandes this time?
No.
Actually, and almost saved, actually.
Yeah, Ederson will feel, you know, he's unfortunate, and he is, but that's why you always go with power with your penalty kicks. You don't always just try and send the goalkeeper the wrong way, because if he guesses right, he's got a chance. You make sure you hit it hard, you make sure you hit it true, and he does that. And yes, the goalkeeper gets a hand to it, but it's a very good penalty considering that it was right at the start of that game.
Absolutely. We talk about the confidence of the players, presumably the confidence of Anthony Taylor early on as well, to spot that in the first minute. There's no warming up of the referee like there's during the game, like there's no warming up of the players. You've got to be on it from the word go. So presumably from his point of view, that's a real confidence boost. I'm on it today. I'm going to have a good game refereeing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Don and I talk a lot about football match, and I think you'd say in a match he loves his first. If you had a few nerves, you love your first tackle, and then you're in the game sort of thing.
His opponent didn't.
Yeah.
Get one in early.
Get one in early. Chris will give me this one free.
First one, ref.
Yeah.
First one's free and all that, yeah. No, but to do what he did, to be on the move, to make sure that he was accelerating, to get in that position, bang penalty, confident, very little dispute from the players. And he's on it, isn't he, you know, straight away.
Body language.
Usually took you a while to warm up, didn't it?
His body language was good, though, wasn't it? You know, he was quite
really
forthright.
good, really
yeah, bang, that's a penalty.
That's a penalty.
It's a definite penalty.
Yes. None of this sort of... That's why I made the comparison with last season when Rashford was fouled, and it was a penalty, and he'll probably... And VAR made up for it, but he'll probably feel aggrieved, annoyed with himself afterwards last season. I knew that was a penalty. Why didn't I
probably
give it?
played on his mind, the fact he
possibly,
wanted to be sharp, he wanted to be close to the action, he wasn't going to... shy away from any decision that needed to be made. He was right on top of it, positive in his action, and got the decision right.
Luke Shaw's had a really encouraging season and had a really excellent match yesterday. And we were talking off air, Leon and I, very much back in England contention as well.
Yeah. This doesn't happen to Luke Shaw 2 or 3 years ago, the way he's getting past players. You know, Kevin De Bruyne is trying to chase him down. He went past him. He's in a good position, takes the shot on. It's a really good finish, but I like the movement before the finish. The finish could go anywhere. You know, good for him and good for United fans that went in the bottom corner.
Henderson throw-in breaks the first line of the press, doesn't it?
But it's the Shaw fitness. I'm not so sure. If you ask Luke Shaw, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, if he was living his lifestyle, right, you can see it now. Doesn't take any injuries. He's fit. He's durable. You know, that's where you want him. You know, he covers, 50, 60 yards quite easy. He's not out of breath.
His first touch on both occasions were good. The first one with his gut, knowing that Cancelo... I think Cancelo made a terrible decision to go and charge him, but to have the awareness to know he's charged me here, I can knock it past him on the full and charge after. That first touch and that decision was good. And then in the penalty area, in a tight situation, to take that touch with his left foot into his path, knowing exactly what he wanted to do, real clear mind, clear thought, and great finish.
And through the defender's legs as well. It's always quite a useful shield when you're shooting a goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure you ever intend to, you know, I'll nutmeg it with my shot. You're making sure that you hit it true. You're making sure that you know it's going to go in that far corner if nobody gets a touch on it. And it does go through the defender's legs. But he deserved his luck. He deserved his luck for the desire he showed to get up there. A good bit of interchange of players. I said, I think that's a great touch into his path. And, you know, him and Manchester United were terrific. And at that point, City had huffed and puffed. They tried things. They hadn't really created an opening, hit the crossbar with a decent bit of play. But it was Manchester United who continued to look more threatening in the game.
The best exponent I've seen it firsthand in training was Jermaine Defoe. We used to practice, imagine a goal where I am now and I'm either side of the post, and me and Leon would drill a ball out to the edge of the box, and a couple of centre-halves would run out towards Jermaine Defoe, and he'd practice shifting it half a yard and then aiming for the defender's legs, knowing they were always going to be on the stretch. And he used to practice nutmegging centre-halves because it throws the keeper off.
Yeah.
You know, goalkeeper's
got less time to see it, obviously.
Goalkeeper's
got to go past
nightmare. He was the one
legs.
I think I've seen over the years that actually used to practice that.
Brilliant. A bit spicy on the touchline, as you would imagine. Listen, we've seen plenty of spice on the touchline in the old days for Alex Ferguson and Mancini and whoever else it was. So it was a little bit yesterday, as you can imagine, from the two managers. But without the crowd, it falls a little bit flatter, doesn't it, than it would do normally?
Seems like a COVID argument, doesn't it? Socially distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I think the scenario fell in and around, I think, United wanting to make a substitution and Henderson kicked the ball out and Pep saying, well, no, it's our throw, we'll play on.
Well, Mike Dean's trying to get his points across. Can't hear him through the mask.
Manchester United weren't ready, were they? Henderson kicked the ball out, hoping for the substitute. Manchester United weren't ready, so
but it's not
Pep's right to say, well, we're not going to hang around until you feel you're ready. We're going to get on with the game. They made up in the end.
Maybe a head injury, you might throw the ball back, but I think in them circumstances, I think you're City, you just play on.
Leon, Dean Henderson in the screen behind you. We saw the big bowl out for the second goal there. De Gea's away for another few more weeks because his partner's had a baby and obviously there's quarantine and so forth. How much of an opportunity does he have now, the next 2 or 3 weeks, to make Ole Gunnar Solskjaer force him into a very difficult decision?
Well, it's a big opportunity and he's a great understudy to bring in. He's been on the periphery for all of this season. I'd say his performances when he's come in have been solid. There's already been questions. So I actually feel he just needs to be unnoticed as much as anything else, as long as he doesn't come in and make a rick and make a big mistake. His reputation is already high as it is. So, you know, I think that was, again, yesterday, I thought his performance, everything he was asked to do was done with real assurance. As we've seen, he was involved in the build-up for the goal. So I think he just needs to keep on doing what he's doing because, you You know, there are already people talking that he should have that number 1 spot.
Test, isn't it? A test now for Ollie. It's a test of his management.
Huge test.
Because now he's got the shirt, Dean Henderson. Yeah. They're good. There's no way the guy should be getting back in unless, like Leon said, he makes mistakes and he offers a route back in. You'd like to think, it's always been the code, never quite comes off all the time, but you'd like to think whoever's got the shirt, playing well, winning games, you'd like to think Dean Henderson would be the immediate number one. Because you'd imagine that if he is left out when De Gea comes back in, Henderson's going to say, I need to play. Well, what you do is you knock on the doors...
Exactly like Martinez did at Arsenal. I've shown I can play, I need to play.
What you do is you knock on the door if you're Dean Henderson and David De Gea comes back and he goes straight back in the side. You knock on the door and you ask the manager, what's going on?
What's going on?
What could I do? I've kept clean sheets, we're winning games, I'm performing well. How come I've lost my shirt?
It could be steps as well, though. You know, he's not been figuring except for the cup competitions. You know, goalkeepers would never rotated. Now, quite often in teams, goalkeepers can be rotated. At Everton, Olsen's come in and played a couple of games. There is, of course, there's an ego
thing. He's the number 1.
Yes, well, of course, and I think De Gea will still know he's number 1. But if, you know, in a few weeks' time, Henderson is suddenly playing up to 10 Premier League games a season, I think he'll think that that's an accomplishment. That's another step. And, you know, this opportunity has arose. He has to take it. But I don't think he has to suddenly be number 1 at the end of it for me. I think that if he can still then just keep on growing in his game time, keep on growing in how much that not only Ollie's trusting him, but the Manchester United players and the Manchester United fans are trusting him, then I think that's a continued progression for him.
We'll see you on that one. Bad day at the office for Manchester City. Time for us to take a break in part 2.